Okay, everyone, so we're going to give this a try. This will be our first adventure into our flipped classroom. You need to have two things in front of you. The first thing that you should have is your SSS, your student success sheet, and you also need a pencil. Working through things as I explain them or as you hear them will help you process them, because we know that we process things more successfully when we write, and it'll help you form your questions as you go through the concepts. So go ahead and turn to the back of the first page of your SSS, and you should see a table that says vocabulary terms with the words probability, outcome, certain, and impossible. We'll start by going through these terms. You may have a little bit of background on the word probability. Probability is a measure of how likely it is that something will occur. So it could be how probable it is that it will rain this afternoon, or how probable it is that I draw a green marble when I have 5 marbles of different colors in a bag. Okay? An example of this would be we will find the probability of rolling a 4 on a 6-sided dice. What you need to write down is just the definition, so just the words, a measure of how likely it is that some event will occur. You do not have to write the example, but you may if it will help you. The next word is outcome. Outcome is pretty much a fancy mathematical way of saying a result. In a sentence, you could say there are 6 possible outcomes of rolling a 6-sided dice. There are 2 possible outcomes when I flip a coin. The outcomes of flipping a coin are heads or tails. Again, just the definition, unless you want to write the example, which by all means, feel free. The next word is certain. Something that is certain is 100% probable. That means that it will absolutely, definitely happen. There is no chance that it would not. So if I had a 6-sided dice, it is certain that I'm going to roll a number less than 7, because there are no numbers 7 or higher on a 6-sided dice. If I flip a coin, it is certain that I will get either heads or tails. There are no other options. Something that is impossible is 0% probable. There is absolutely no way that it could happen. You might say when you get a tricky assignment, oh, this is impossible. Well, no, it's not really impossible in the mathematical sense of the word. If we had a 6-sided dice, it would be impossible for us to roll the letter A because there are no letters on a dice. So go ahead and make sure you have all the vocabulary terms filled in. If you need to go back and rewind me or pause me for a couple minutes, that's fine. Okay, now let's talk about how we determine probability. A question that you might have about probability would be something like, what is the probability of pulling a polka dotted pencil out of this box? Here I have a box of pencils. I have 5 pencils in my box, and I want to know what the chances of pulling one out randomly that has polka dots on it would be. So we always show probability as a fraction. You can either write it like a fraction with a fraction bar with a numerator and a denominator, or you could say something like the probability is 2 out of 5, written in a complete sentence with the words out of being in place of the fraction bar. The number of objects that match my desired outcome goes on the top of the fraction, and it becomes the numerator. The total number of objects I have altogether that I'm considering goes on the bottom of the fraction, and it becomes the denominator. So in this example, what is the probability of pulling a polka dotted pencil out of the box? The probability of pulling a polka dotted pencil out of the box is 2 out of 5, because I have 2 polka dotted pencils. They're my desired outcome, and they become my numerator, out of 5 total objects. That becomes the denominator. At this point, go ahead and stop to complete your practice problem. If you need to go back and work through your vocabulary or watch the example that I just did again, you can go ahead and do that now. Alright, so talking about probability in the real world. Most frequently, you would use probability when you're playing a game. You could be gambling, a game that involves rolling 2 dice and making bets about the numbers that you'll get. You use probability when you play poker. There is actually math behind predicting what the people that you're playing against might have in their hands. You could also use probability just when you spin a spinner on a regular board game. So if you are playing the game of life and you are spinning a spinner to see what kind of pet that you have, here your probability of getting a dog would be much higher than getting a cat. The probability of getting a dog would be 3 out of 4 because 3 spots on the spinner are filled with dog and there are only 4 total spots. You can also use probability to help you make wise choices throughout your day. So I have an example here. Zachary offered me a deal this morning. He told me that he has 5 marbles in a sock. 2 of them are green and the rest are orange. His deal with me was that if he pulls out a green marble, he'll give me his Pop-Tart. If he pulls out an orange marble, I have to give him my Pop-Tart and my graham crackers. Now I'm thinking to myself, I really like my breakfast food, and I have a chance to get an extra Pop-Tart, but I also have a chance to lose my breakfast food. So I need to use my math brain to help me decide if I should take Zach's deal or not. Here's Zachary's sock. He has 2 green marbles and the rest are orange. To clarify, let's go back and reread. He told me that if he pulls out a green marble, he'll give me his Pop-Tart. I need to figure out the probability of pulling out a green marble. In order to do that, I count how many green there are, 1, 2, over the total number of marbles that there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My chance of Zachary pulling out a green marble and giving me his Pop-Tart is only 2 out of 5. And I happen to know that 2 out of 5 is less than half. The chance of me having to give up my Pop-Tart and my graham cracker is greater because the probability of him pulling out an orange marble would be 3 out of 5. So should I take his deal? No, I shouldn't take Zach's deal if I want to hold on to my breakfast. In your SSS, there's a practice problem about Tommy. Go ahead and stop and do it now. Let's talk about the practice problem that you just worked through. Tommy's been running dice games during indoor recess. He asked to make the following deal with me. If you roll the dice 1 time and get a number greater than or equal to 5, I'll buy your lunch. If you roll it 1 time and get a number equal to or less than 4, you have to buy me lunch. Mathematically speaking, does it make sense for me to accept Tommy's deal? Why or why not? What you should have done here is considered the numbers that are greater than or equal to 5. They are 5 and 6, if we're looking at a regular 6-sided dice. The numbers equal to or less than 4 are 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the probability of Tommy rolling a number greater than or equal to 5 is 2 out of 6, because the numbers that are greater than or equal to 5 are 5 and 6, only 2 possibilities out of 6 total possible outcomes. The probability of him rolling a number less than or equal to 4 is 4 out of 6, because there are 4 numbers that are less than or equal to 4 on a 6-sided dice, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The probability of him rolling a number less than or equal to 4 is 4 out of 6. It doesn't make sense for me to take his deal because the probability of 4 out of 6 is greater than the probability of 2 out of 6. So now I want you to go ahead and work on the summary part of your SSS. Write a paragraph explaining what probability is. Give an example using drawing marbles out of a hat. This is the tricky part. This part was not in the directions on your SSS. This is the secret addition you get for watching the video on time. Use the terms outcome, certain, and impossible in your responses. And the last thing you need to do on your SSS is write a question that you have about the concept we just went over. It could be a confusion. You're stating that you're confused about something in particular. It could be a discussion question that you want to bring up with your peers. Or it could be an example. You could write a practice question and solve it to show me that you fully understand what we've done. That's all there is for today. So at this point you can go ahead and stop the video and work on your summary and your question.